flex on him what?
Oh, he's filming now.
Oh, good.
Oh, hey guys.
Hola.
Jared with Orion Training Group, Jason Ransom of Ransom Tactical Solutions. We're going to cover something that has been a topic of debate among people on the internet, which I hate to say it because our business is built around that, but I hate the internet sometimes because you have to be so specific and articulate about things that it seems like they should be obvious, right? We're going to be talking about presenting your weapon system onto a target from what we call the scanning position, i.e. you're not just looking through your optic the whole time that you're doing stuff. You're going to be scanning and looking for threats and then presenting to the threat. But before we do that, I just want the audience to know that since Task Force 69 has killed the final incarnation of Ron Jeremy, we will be forced now to use white IPSC. So I apologize that the entertainment value is lower, but you know, it's a victory for us all that he's gone. So take it away, Jay.
Yeah, so one of the things that we cover a lot is moving in and around a structure at the scanning position. Scanning position simply means that the rifle is mounted to my shoulder, or the pistol is extended, but everything is kind of a little bit lower. Now, some people may call it a compressed ready like this, or but what we're getting into is the weapon is in your shoulder, right? I am in a shooting position or shooting platform. I'm moving in and about the structure, and I'm looking over the top. I'm looking over the top of the optic so that I can gather and process data. And we always harp on moving only as fast as you can process the information in front of you, right? So what that is simply having the gun on your shoulder, looking over the top of it, both eyes open, and processing the data that's in front of you, whether it be a room or some dead space or what have you. When it's time to make a shot or to bring the rifle up to engage, my thumb is always resting on the safety, always married to the safety, so that if and when the situation presents itself, I simply just bring the gun up to eye level, manipulate the safety, and then manipulate the trigger when necessary. All right. So you notice that my head and neck stay erect, looking downrange or in the area that I'm concerned with, and the gun is simply just brought up to eye level. I don't have to put my cheek on it or get cheek weld like this whenever you have your optics mounted directly to the rail without some type of riser. This one happens to be a Unity riser, and I think Jared is running that smooth ass overbore, the Kinu.
Yeah, and it's if you look at them side by side, this is not a product comparison video. They do similar things, but one thing that you'll note is that this one has about twice the rail space, and the reason that it was designed that way is to be able to fit a magnifier here without having to buy a special mounting system. So if you wanted to put a magnifier behind the Unity, and their product design geniuses for this, you got to buy a, what is it, $300 mount to flip to center to bring it up. Whereas if you already have a EOTech magnifier, you just put it on the riser. So this will save you money, but it is not going to have a flip to center option. You just put the regular one on. And a lot of people don't like the flip left or flip right because it increases the girth of the weapon system, especially if you're wearing it on the front of you and you got all this accoutrement hanging off of you, right? So pros and cons to both. We're not saying buy one or the other. It's not a product comparison video, but they do the same thing in the context of this video, which is bring the optic up off the weapon system closer to your eye from a shouldered position.
Yeah, and it works really good if you run tubes mounted to a helmet.
Yes,
all you have to do is simply just look, bring the gun up to eye level. The tube is looking straight through that. You don't have to do any kind of crazy, neck articulation. It's simply head and eyes are up, bring the gun up to eye level, manipulate the safety when necessary, manipulate the trigger if the target presents itself. So we'll do a couple of basically uplook presses. What I would deem it as is simply having the gun in the shoulder like so, and just bring it up and press it to the torso, just like easy day, yeah? Super easy. Next, we'll go over a lot of people, and there's some agencies that wear funny hats that like high port. There's some agencies that wear funny hats that like low port or low ready or high ready. Man, you name it. Think about the gun being pointed up, right? So I like to index the rifle kind of closer to where the optic is coming to center line, or
To the index.
yeah, that's what we call it, yeah. So bringing the rifle here, I have the rifle kind of on this side so I can look and see what's going around in front of me, not cross like so. So it's here. So when I need to present it, it's coming simply straight up like this, bringing the stock to the shoulder and then literally the optic is in line with my eye immediately. So what that looks like from here is, again,
To the index.
that word right there, bringing the gun up and simply just bringing it to the shoulder like so. Bring the gun up, and these are all dry fire reps you can do in your house, whether it be just, put you some blue tape on the wall, present the gun from all these positions, which we're going to go over a couple more here. So that high ready here, bring it up, and as if I need to, I can manipulate the safety in this position. As soon as I mount the gun, it's ready to rock and roll. Because my thumb, like I said before, is always married to the safety. Anytime I'm moving around, will mod. Anytime I'm moving around, my thumb is always resting on the safety, so I know without a doubt if it's resting against my armor, the gun's on safe. If I'm moving around, the gun's on safe because my thumb knows what that feels like. It's embedded in my brain, the way that safety is configured, and my thumb coming into contact with it.
Did you catch what he said about it being embedded in his brain? This is the kind of thing that when you rep it, it becomes just as efficient as running your gun like this, like something you saw in a movie, right? So when it's on safe, again, thumb married to the safety, and my finger is applying pressure to that mag well, the presentation and firing is the same as it being off. There's no time difference because it's a part of this becomes an extension of his thumb. And how do we establish that? Neural pathway, or if we want to quote William myelination, Will Petty, using the big words, TM, how would we do that?
I thought myelination is what we did in the Marine Corps just when we walked everywhere.
Myelination. So yeah, no, it's referring to the myelin sheath that covers your neurons, but we're not going to get into the science of that. We'll do that later.
We're not, but you just did. So what that means is
Lots
I've just trained enough in reps that my thumb is, like he said, just part of the safety now. And I feel weird if my thumb is resting down here. That's an unnatural feeling for me
Not
because
a hammer, right?
because I've held it so much. Now, if you think about this and the way that we apply things from one to the other, Jared, do me a favor, just pass me your pistol real quick. Notice where my thumb and index finger and all that good stuff is, right here. Just put that in my hand, will you? Look at that. Who would have thought that they both would be the exact same, right?
Like your other hand's going to go there or something?
Yeah, that'd be
Like,
crazy, wouldn't
yeah,
it?
Wouldn't
That
be
is
wild?
literally like the same exact hand configuration from the pistol to the rifle. Anyway, so we'll do some more high ready.
Yeah, show them
rifle
from
pres-
high into scanning position.
Okay,
right?
yeah. So from here, if I need to, bring the gun up, it's literally just like this.
You see how he's looking over the top now?
So my head and eyes never changed. I'm still, target focused, like you should be, and not focused on the front sight. So I'm looking at target focus.
Roasting them.
Jab at fundamentals, right? So I'm looking at the target, bringing the gun up in the scanning position. I'm looking at the target, bringing the gun up, scanning position. Looking at the target. Now I'm going to go on sight. Head and eye stay the same, right?
Easy day.
So I'm picking out one of those dots there, just bringing the gun up to eye level, working that safety if necessary, working the trigger if necessary. Then drop down to that scanning position. Why is it important, do you think, to drop back down into scanning position after you've engaged that target?
Well, it breaks your tunnel vision and allows you to process. You're seeing more of what's going on. I'm not going to say you should necessarily follow your target down to the ground. I think that might give you a bad habit. But what do targets typically do when we've given them, as you would say, enough of the sa-sa-sa?
Yeah, you sa-sa-sa, he falls down.
Generally speaking, they're going to fall down if you've done your job right. And so if I'm working a target from here and he goes down, I'm getting out of that scanning position. I'm looking around, what do I have, what do I need? And the dude's down on the ground. Again, I'm not saying for every dry fire rep you need to do this. Because you see people do that. That's going to give you a bad habit because when the dude doesn't go down after 2 reps, now you've trained yourself that that's what happens every time. But coming out of your sights and scanning the room and checking what's going on is a good thing to be in the habit of. I know we're going to have people in the comments that are like, that's range theatrics. Okay, bro, so is a 1 reload 1, but I know you do it in your underwear and put it on Instagram. So it's one of those things where we have to have a training regimen. It's a spectrum of skills you have to be good at. And I think that it's good to practice with effective placement of rounds, getting out of your sights and checking for other stuff going on. Because there's more than just burning that dude down, right? You have other things you have to worry about.
Yeah, and like, the part of the scanning process is, looking for more work. Did it hit? Did it work on that one? Is there somebody else that I didn't see now that is coming to see what all the fuss is about? Hey, how about where's my teammates at? So maybe even putting shots on that one, go in that scanning position, maybe come completely out of the gun to look around and see what the hell else was going on.
That's something that, so not to go into story time, dude basically taught me everything I know about this stuff, but I remember in the academy, a phrase you said stuck with me years back, talking about pistol stuff. bang, 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 and you came back to that index, you said, does anybody want some? Does anybody else want some? And you did a 360 check, but the weapon was out of play.
Right.
You weren't scanning like this. You're getting that weapon system up and ready to look around, and that does anybody else want some was your mentality, like, that might not be the only threat.
Right, exactly. And that's the way you should treat it. Whether it be live fire, dry fire, whatever the case may be, once you start committing things to memory or forming that long-ass word you said earlier,
Myelination.
TM, you start to do things repetitively, and they become second nature. Like manipulating the safety, going into that scanning position. I feel awkward if I, shoot an array and I don't do some form of scanning. Check my background, check what's going on, with the target or with the suspect. Where's my buddy at? Did my buddy get hit in the engagement? So looking around to see what else. And it's also, like you said, going to break that tunnel vision and allow you to bring in more of that data, more of that information that you may need.
And let's put it in the context of CQB, right? We just did this video on Tactical Twister, which hopefully you watched before this because we released them in sequence. We talked about that scanning point, right? Well, if I see that target as I'm doing my button hook, and we talk about Jason, breaking this rifle down, I'm seeing that from here. If I stay locked in on it, am I doing my job? No. I've got the rest of the room, I've got my buddy to check on. So by giving him what he needs, good targets, good rounds on target, head comes up out of that gun, and I'm like, oh, okay, my buddy's alive, there's no more work that needs to be done, and I can come back to that. But if I don't train to break myself out of that, aggressive shooting position or whatever it is you're doing, you lose some training value. You want to show them from low port?
Yeah, man. So low port or low ready, or the Marine Corps taught us alert to the dirt. Alert to the dirt. So where this particular tactic comes into play, whether it be high ready, if I'm standing behind someone getting ready to do room entry or what have you, I have this particular. So notice where it's still the same. At the titty index here, my elbow is contacting him, or my arm is contacting him. The gun is still facing upright. If it was at that low ready, it would be the same thing. The elbow's tucked here, the gun is facing down. It's kind of in between my legs, and it's not muzzling him or me, and I can maneuver him. Go to your left. So then the gun comes up. Simple as that. If I need to address a target, I can. So from low ready, it's simply the gun's down. I'll bring it up if necessary. Manipulate the safety, manipulate the trigger when the situation is necessary.
Dictates.
Yeah, dictates. If not, you can just bring it up into that scanning position. It's just a simple snap. So I'm rotating this elbow down while pushing the gun up, and it's literally just snapping it into my shoulder. And notice, trying to keep my head and neck the same, because the same.
Yeah, because we're myelinating a pathway.
TM. It's literally just keeping the head and eyes erect or up, and
dude's gonna be punching the air when he watches this video.
God damn. So again, head and eyes are up. Just manipulate the gun or bring it here. So it's such a simple snap, right? Now, if you start to do this, you're adding more movement than necessary because you're bringing the gun up to eye level. Why would you want to bring your head and eyes down? Right, so it's a conflict of interest, especially like presentations with the pistol.
Oh God!
When you're bringing the gun up, you're bringing the gun up to eye level. You're not bringing the gun up to eye level and then scooching down.
You see people do this all the time. Your head's up, your eyes up, you're on target. I see and identify that, right? And I present that pistol, and you see people do this. What is that giving you, right? This is not what we want, and it's because it's inefficient. It's not because it's not the new thing or it's not trendy. It's not efficient.
Well, and then, things are moving on two planes.
Exactly.
You got the gun coming out, and then you got the head nods going down. So if, the pistol comes out or whatever, and you bring in you want to keep it at eye level, right? So the gun comes up, just present. Gun comes up, present. Gun comes up, present. And I'm just bringing the dot to eye level.
Just like the rifle, guys.
Yeah, it's simply the same. And if it's at that other index position, up here, it's simply just driving the gun out. It's driving the gun out. I'm not, squinching my head and shoulders up, because that's going to get uncomfortable. You're going to start to feel tension and pain.
Do that for 12 hours and tell me how.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. Then you put kit on top of those traps, and it's pressing down on it. You start
helmet.
You start squishing things down, and your back is going to pay for it. So just present the gun up. Simple as that. And all these are just dry fire rips in your garage, man. Put that tape up there, whether it be on the glass or on the mirror my eyes, which I freaking love. Our buddy Will does it.
Go check that out on his page, Stuffs and Pews, STUFFSNPEWS on Instagram.
It's called Mirror My Eyes.
Mirror My Eyes drill. It's a live video he posted.
I love it, and I do that, at my house with mirror tape on the mirror, and it's just bringing the gun up. So if you notice, if you're looking at that or looking at the target, and when you start to do this or drop, you'll notice that you'll see your eyes underneath the tape. Well, that's a wrong rep. So put it back in the holster and do it again. Just bring the gun up to eye level.
Yeah, that revolutionized my draw presentation several years ago when he told me about it. And of course now it's a big thing. You see other companies doing it and stuff, and it's spreading this knowledge, which is what we want. That's basic stuff that everybody should know, which is why we're putting it on YouTube. So one thing I want to do, I have a shot timer app on my phone, free shot timer, and I just want to demo, make the final point that on an indication of the beep, you can come up and hit the target at the same speed, whether your thumb's on the safety, fingers on the magwell, or the safety's off, fingers on the magwell. Because the safety does not add time if you're professional and you've trained to that standard. All right, guys, so the point we're going to try and make with this is that if you're running your safety off and your finger on the magwell, I'm not talking about safety off, finger on the trigger, safety off, finger on the magwell, i.e. this is my safety, Hollywood shit, you're only losing things. In the pressure of the moment, if you're not training to always put that weapon system back on safety when you're done firing, you're increasing the likelihood of an issue, like you sling your rifle to do something else, prep a bang, whatever else, and something gets snagged on something. So you need to have the muscle memory of, which I know is not really a thing, you need to have the training in the myelinated pathway, that the thumb's always on the safety, comes off when we're shooting at the same time, and then whenever you're done shooting, you put it back on safe. If the times are not different between running a safety and not running it, then you only gain from running a safety.
Yeah.
Right?
The additional safety aspect, which is...
Right.
I can't imagine teaching any other way.
Correct, and anyone from a legitimate unit is going to tell you the same thing, or team.
Safety on, and that's one of the cardinal safety rules.
Yes.
Your rifle stays on fire stays on safe until you intend to fire. That's it.
That's it. So, taking that to heart, what we've done is set our par time for 0.5. This is free shot timer is the name of it. I know you're going to ask, go find it. It's very finicky on real bullets, but it's great for dry fire because you can set your par time. So, he's going to be starting every rep from the scanning position. Show it to him, Jay. His eyes are over the top of the optic. For the first 3, his thumb's married to that safety.
Safety's on.
Yep.
Finger straight.
Finger straight, pressing into that magwell, and it is set for a random initial beep. So for 0.5. Okay, do it again. Probably a quarter of a second or less. Easy day, right? Okay, now he's going to do it with the safety off, which is going to feel weird for him because he's a professional.
See, it's coming in contact with my trigger finger, and I do not like that.
It's weird, isn't it? All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same.
And I put it back on safe after.
Because you're a professional.
Yeah. Professional end user. Hashtag. One more.
So you can see, if you've got the reps, doesn't matter. And I'm also going to do it, and Mitchell's going to do it as well. So yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so same thing, right?
Yeah.
Safety on, finger straight.
Finger straight.
Shooter ready?
Yeah.
Stand by.
I'm so nervous. I'm getting a sight picture, right? I'm aligning everything.
Yeah.
So
you notice every time he trigger presses where that laser is hitting, right? You notice that it's coming up center of mass. If we put your Viz laser on, you'll see that it's down here.
Yeah, let's try it.
You got your Viz laser? Hey, let me get Jared right back up real quick. So put your Viz on so they can see where your scanning position would be.
Low power.
Because with mine, I should have turned that fierce ass maul on. It's a superior friggin' laser system.
In-gall, baby. All right.
So you notice where, so turn that Viz on? Yep, you see where it's located. That's the scanning position. Notice the gun is in his shoulder. He's looking over the top of the optic, and it's down here. This is probably average male height, 5'10", 5'11", so on and so forth. Probably average male height. That laser is pointing here from Viz, and you notice when he brings it up, it's coming up center of mass. So it's the scanning position. You're still on target. All you gotta do is bring the gun up just a few inches.
Y'all remember those drills you see, and Jason, you remind me the name of it, but self-defense, right? You're drawing and shooting from here and then working backward. Zipper drill?
Zipper drill, that's what I call it.
No different than this, right, guys? So if I'm in the situation where I'm engaging, well, I'm just zippering if I need to, right? It's the same thing. And if you're hitting somebody center mass, what really, you're the medic, what really important things are right here?
You got your spine, your aorta, vena cava, your pelvic girdle, all of this right here.
That's all
There's
super
gonna be
important.
a lot of vasculature going through your pelvic bone.
Really, really bad places to get shot. So if you're actually aiming center line and working up, it's really effective. So,
Right, I would teach them that, to start at the zipper because you work a zipper up or down, and teach the students, the majority we want our rounds are in the upper thoracic cavity. And it was like, what's a Jurassic? I'm like, no, thoracic up here.
That Jurassic
torso.
cavity.
Yeah. So yeah, really good stuff. Your pelvic girdle, obviously, if you shoot them in the pelvic girdle, it inhibits their ability to move forward. Their wheels cannot move forward.
Yeah.
So we can start working the gun out and just work it up. Sever that spinal column, end up in that little, hey, sword fight. I don't do my hands.
Can't say that while I have this mustache.
And the tee box, up there. So Mitchell, come and get us a couple reps.
Good shot, bro.
All right, same thing. Scanning position, weapon on safe, finger off the trigger, shooter ready, stand by. Still scanning or looking over the top of the optics. Easy day.
And you're depressing it a little bit farther even.
Yeah, it is a little lower. It's all good. He can still process information.
And he's beating the 0.5 timer quite well.
Oh, easy. Too easy.
And they say that generally speaking, human reaction time to a threat is anywhere between 0.25 and 0.5 seconds. And obviously we're gaming it here. We know this is a threat target, so we're not having to see it, analyze it as a threat, and then present. But the decision to shoot, hopefully for you, will be less than a quarter of a second because you're also having to decide to shoot.
Well, and part of that, getting that reactionary gap time down is through training. Through training. Oh, he's working that with that Kinu.
You got the overboard Kinu as well.
So you take a look at that and
look how he's got his run, so he can mount things in front as well. So that's the versatility that we like of this system. Nothing wrong with the Unity Fast, obviously, but this has got a little bit more to work with. If you want to add a magnifier, you can put a thermal clip on in front of it, other things like that.
So I have the Kinu at home. I think it is an awesome riser. But I left I put the Unity on here so we could get some comparison.
Showing differences.
Things are, hey, look, you don't have to have this or you don't have to have that. There's different things out there that will assist you to getting that gun up on target. And how do we decrease that reactionary gap? We decrease that reactionary gap by training. Put ourselves on that timer. Get out there on the range with friends. And say, hey, look, I want you to give me a pair to the torso or 3 rounds to the torso, and point 7.5 from.
And then work it down.
Yeah, and do it at CQB distance. 7 yards. 8, 10 yards somewhere there, something that's similar like this in a room.
Yeah.
That is workable.
And the average engagement in the U.S. is 3 meters or 3 yards, 3 rounds in 3 seconds. So you have a lot of people now they're talking about, and we teach classes that are 500 and 1,000 yards shooting. But just like with the medical stuff, you're way more likely to use medical, right? But you're also way more likely if you're going to shoot to do it within 3 yards.
Right.
So speed of presentation, speed of processing, and accuracy of rounds, stopping the engine, stopping the computer are really important. And having a good riser, having the neural pathway established to be able to quickly and accurately address a threat is far more important than a lot of things people focus on. And you can gain almost all of that prep from dry fire.
Dry fire is key, man.
Yeah.
If you can manage to do dry fire at least 10 to 15 minutes a day, if you can squeeze it in. So you're sitting there watching SpongeBob SquarePants, just put your duty rig on and draw up there and just do some presentation. Yeah. Just do some presentation. You're stirring the spaghetti, let that stuff, simmer, and then just draw your pistol. Don't make sure that all your weapons should be clear of ammunition. We use a Mantis systems for the rifle. Anytime we're doing demos, or dry fire, all things are rendered safe. We put the Mantis system. I think it's a phenomenal training tool, man.
Yeah.
And now I know a couple people get those targets that actually will respond and react to the Mantis.
Gives you a lot of data back.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the dry fire game has changed completely from whenever I was teaching it a long time ago. Just doing uplook presses, in your living room. There's so many more tools now to help you and make things a lot easier. I know from shooting long ago when me and you were on the team, we had those guns that were the optics were just mounted directly to the rail. And over time, having to get your neck and head and stuff over with that helmet on, and then Ear Pro, the Ear Pro game has changed. He's got a sweet ass ops core in there with those amps. That thing is dope. I'm gonna have to try that out a little later.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the next video on that one.
One of the things Jason's talking about with this Ear Pro, and it's Will talks about this a lot too, and his team, they like the risers because it keeps the stock in a position where their Ear Pro is off the stock. And as Jason was just referencing, when you have to bury your head down into the gun and get that true cheek weld here, the stock is above the plane where the bottom of your Ear Pro rests. And on an ops core where you decide that you have the boom mic on, if you're shoulder switching, or if you're like me and you didn't figure out how to switch the thing for a year and a half, it's going to be really likely to pop it out of your ear. And even without that mic, any contact of the stock to that is opening that seal up. And I mean, I got tinnitus like a mofo on this side from breaching.
Yeah, I was going to say, every time we would shoot, any kind of live fire,
your cup is open.
Yeah, it would push that cup up, and I would lose a seal, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
And it works great for a gas mask too. We didn't even talk about that.
And with gas masks.
Gas mask on, getting that, keeping that head nose up and not having to, manipulate around that mask.
Think about the clearance you have on a mask, right? The thickness, especially if you're wearing like those Avon FM54s or the C50s or whatever. They're great masks, and they're designed to be relatively slim, but even still, when you're trying to mount your cheek to the stock, you can't. So by having it up and out and being able to bring the optic up to your eye, game changer.
Yeah.
So take home points from this video. You should be dry firing. It's an incredible resource. It's free. It's like working out at home. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. If you haven't looked into getting a riser, now you know the reasons why. Whether you're a professional end user that's going to worry about night vision, gas mask, worst conditions of your life, or it's something where you just want to be efficient and effective, it's a good upgrade. Scanning position, processing information over the top of the weapon system and then presenting to is the way to do it. Scanning through your optic, you're going to lose things, you're going to be inefficient, you're not going to be as fast. Marry that finger to the magwell, marry that thumb to the safety, and get thousands of reps working those together so that you only gain an extra layer of safety rather than taking extra risks you don't need to when you're already in a really bad situation. And I think that's pretty much everything we covered. Huh?
Yeah, and one last point with the scanning position, when you were talking about it, the scanning position is crucially important because it allows you to see. Typically, people when they conceal, they're most likely conceal it, appendix carry, or just have the front tuck. And if you've got that rifle or that pistol, married to your eye, or you're looking through the optics, or the gun up like this, when you bring it up from any distance, like right now, if the gun's in my face, I can't see Mitchell's waistline. And if his hands were low, that gun in there, and I get that tunnel vision, and everything's kind of getting real tight. When that gun's up here like this, and I'm focused on him, I can't see that waistline. But if you take that gun and while you're here, you just drop it down a little bit, now everything comes into view.
Yeah.
So it allows you to see more when you have a really good, effective scanning position to see what's going on with that bad guy.
So you can see from the camera's perspective now that if you were to be looking through the optic like the camera, and Jason has it fully seated in his shoulder up and on plane, you can't see anything that's going on with my body. You can't see my hands. You can't see if I'm going to draw. So if I'm Lucas from T-Rex Arms, I'll just .68 from concealment, and you weren't even ready, right? See the pistol. So now he's going to drop it down into a scanning position, and he's looking over the top of that optic, and now you can see that I am armed. And if you were entering a room looking for an armed person and scanning and collapsing your sector, you wouldn't want to miss this. So it's important that you have your processor be the priority and not think about it like you're trying to game a shot. You can't take the shot until you've identified your target.
PID.
PID is huge, man. And people without perspective on it think, I'm just going to Call of Duty, slide stop into the room and yeet everything. We want to have proper identification of targets, and that comes from being able to scan, i.e. process.
So homework, work on your scanning position, work on your high ready position, your low ready position, or high port, low port, whichever you want to decide or to name it. But those are three key factors to take away from this is those three shooting positions and platforms. And of course the riser info is just free of charge.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in learning this kind of thing in person, we do firearms classes, CQB classes, medical, comms. We have all kinds of stuff about radios now as well. So there's a wide spectrum of stuff that you could learn. If you go check out our website, oriontraininggroup.com, it's got all that stuff listed. We also have some online classes as well now. Check out that little tab on there. It says online classes. Open enrollment. So if you are an American citizen and you want to come learn and you can pass a background check, then you are welcome to come to our classes. We're not going to, sort of control the flow of information because we believe you have a right to this stuff. So if you jive with that, hit us up, oriontraininggroup.com, send us a registration.